What do creative people living in the Florida Keys like us, who have full-time jobs in order to pay bills, what do you do in your free time to exercise and use your creative brain and feed your creative soul? That's the question, and this podcast will provide answers. My name is Nancy Truesdale. Welcome to Creatives in the Keys. This is Nancy Truesdale with Creatives in the Keys, and I have the benefit today of being with Mike Ashcraft, an amazing wood carver. He's at mile marker 59, Grassy Key. Hard to miss him, oceanside, gorgeous wood carvings. And I'm here today to find out how it all happened. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, how are you today, Nancy? Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. What a gorgeous setting. How did you wind up here?
Oh, well, I've been carving a little over 20 years. I started in Vero Beach, Fort Pierce area, and kind of wore those areas out after 10 or 12 years and moved down to the Keys because here we have more volume of people, more volume of everything, basically.
How did you learn your craft? Like, did you just wake up one day and pick up a chainsaw? Like, how does that happen?
I saw a guy doing it. I was working construction, and prior to that, I was a lifeguard for many, many years. And there was just no future in the construction, so I wasn't happy, but it was something that we have to do. And then I saw a guy carving one day, and I thought to myself, well, I kind of understood it, and I was like, I could do that. And actually, it's a real short, quick story.
Go for it.
My ex-wife, the mother of all my children, we had a rough relationship, and at the time, I wasn't living with her or my kids when I saw this and decided that I would start carving, so I bought a washer and a dryer and a chainsaw, and I got back into the house. And I started carving there.
Man with a plan. I like that. But had you had any exposure to art or sculpture or anything prior to like the light bulb moment with the chainsaw?
No, just my mother always saying I was talented.
Faith in your talent.
Yes.
So tell me what it was like when you first started out. Like, what did you carve? What was your image? Like, what was the process?
I had a friend of mine that I started carving at the same time I did, and actually he started probably about 5 hours before me. And so he showed me what he was doing, and then he goes, and that's how you do that, and now go do your thing, and that's what I did. And
what did you start carving? What were your images?
My first piece was a pelican, but it was more of like a Pella chicken. It's pretty cool, but I wish I still had it today, but we sold it.
Were you inspired by the Florida nature and what was around you?
Not really. I was looking for a way to make an income that I enjoyed and understood and could see a future in.
So from the get-go, were you pretty much carving what people would buy?
I would carve anything you wanted, and I still do.
I love it. When you're carving for you, like when you're carving to please yourself, what do you like to carve?
It depends. I mean, sometimes I'll look at a piece of wood and you just see what's in it.
Sure.
And it's when you're inspired to carve. I can carve pelicans. I have to carve pelicans and manatees, porpoises, and turtles, and all the bread and butter stuff.
Marine life.
Yeah, marine life. In the Keys, prior to moving to the Keys, I carved everything. All giraffes, monkeys, elephants,
sure.
Anything you wanted. Down here is primarily saltwater sea life, salty stuff. And then, what was the question? What do I like to carve?
Yeah.
Nothing in particular. I just kind of, if I see it, then once I see it, I just go at it and have fun with it.
I like what you said about whatever the wood inspires. Talk to me about that. How does the wood speak to you, and how does it inspire a carving?
Well, it doesn't always speak to you right away, or to me. I've had pieces that I've tripped over for years and then stood them up and looked at it and go, that's a giraffe, and carve it in 4 hours, and it's worth, it's museum quality art. The others, there's just certain diameters you just know what you can carve out of. Pelicans, bears, turtles.
Sure.
There's all these certain cuts that are just easy.
Specs.
But then you get these great pieces of wood that are big forks and just give you lots of area to really be creative.
You have one that you either just finishing or almost finished. That's a huge burled
It's a mahogany root.
Root.
It's a mahogany root, and actually we used the slabs from that same tree to build a bar for a good client of mine, Joe McDermott, and it's going to be a nice piece when we're finished.
Did it speak to you when you saw it?
No, I sold it before I had the idea, and then I talked Joe into buying it, and then I've been stuck having to carve it ever since.
And what is this piece going to be? The big
Well,
knot?
it started off, it was going to be like an octopocalypto thing, where it's just octopus after octopus is rolling up over the sea and engulfing all of everything. And now it's more of a it's a cluster of fish and sea life.
It's really elegant, and from all sides. Like you have the schooling fish that are emerging on the what I would consider the back side, but the front side where the octopus is
Right.
the feature, it gives a whole another look.
Oh yeah.
Is it evolved as you've worked on it?
Oh, absolutely. It's sometimes it's one of those pieces that you have to look at and step away from. And when I see something, carve that area and then step away. I mean, it's something I've worked on over probably 8 months now,
Wow.
off and on. But I also have my business and my
Sure.
everything else I have to do. So I'm doing 10 other things at the same time.
Sure. And is it almost done?
Yeah, we deliver it next week.
Wow.
Yeah, you might want to talk to Joe. That would be a fun.
It would be, and I'll love to go see it once it's hung.
Yeah.
Once you have it in place.
Well, there's going to be an L-shaped bar on one side on top of 5 wine barrels that are all have themes carved in them and doors cut in them because there's lots of storage in them. And then there'll be a high top on the other side.
That's cool. So in addition to just sculptural pieces, you also carve functional pieces.
Yeah, a lot of functional art. Doors, everything.
Give me some.
I don't know, the only limitation would be your imagination. We carve everything.
So I've seen some bar tops, tables.
Bar tops, tables, sculpture, turned into structural things like beams, newels,
Sure, you could
end
do
tables, everything.
headboards.
Everything. What are the balances,
Sure.
vanities.
Gotcha. Endless.
Yeah, the only limitation really is the client's pocketbook.
What about types of wood? Is there a certain type of wood you like to carve in, or some types that are better than others?
It all depends on the application. I like, down here we have a lot of mahogany and Jamaican dogwood. I really like those woods. Super hard. Up in the Vero Beach area, we used what we call silver cedar. A little secret spot up there where there's lots of that. But it's really not in the Vero Beach area. But
I hear you.
but anyway, there's no particular wood. It's more of where's it going and what's the purpose of it, and then we can get the correct thing in there.
Well, how did you wind up here? This is such a cool spot. Like lots of room, and it doesn't look like there's anybody around for you to bother. So
No, I love it out here. It's kind of like it country in the Keys, kind of.
yeah.
I moved down from Vero Beach to Alamorada. I was there. I don't know the years, like 12 years ago.
Sure.
And then I was in Alamorada for 10 years. I moved 4 times while I was in Alamorada because of the politics and
Sure.
and people. Good stuff. Did a lot there, but how did I get here? Oh, I moved my shop to Alamorada. Kind of outpriced me with their with the rents, and they're just ridiculous. And rents, and then them not, the renters not, or the owners not obligated, doing what they need to do to fix up places, and
Sure.
they just want you to pay, and they don't want to do anything. So anyway, ran into a lot of that. I ended up moving to the Redlands on Chrome Avenue. So anyway, I moved to the Redlands and went to work making stuff there, and it was a good thing going. But the owner had other things in mind. I went to Puerto Rico to do a carving in the plaza in Aguadilla for the mayor there, Mayor Mendez, and when I came back, a significant amount of my slabs and everything were missing. So the guy ended up stealing my entire shop. And so he freed me up to be able to travel. And so me and my girlfriend, she's a school teacher, she took a year off. And we went traveling and doing shows with Bass Pro all through upstate New York, because my attorney suggested it was a good time to get out of town for a little while. Yeah. But anyway, so the guy, he did me a favor. He stole everything I owned, and but he also freed me up to go do other things.
What did you do for Bass Pro?
We're doing demonstrations and shows in their in front of their stores for like 3 weeks at a time in front of each store. We were in Auburn, Albany, Old Forge, which there's no Bass Pro in Old Forge, but we went up there and we did a show there. And then we went to Hooksett, New Hampshire. We're there for several months through Boston. And then up into York, Maine, which there's no Bass Pro there, but we set up on a nice shop there.
Cool. Then, how did you wind up here?
Well, of course, the storm came. I had what I had left from environmental surroundings, or from my move to the Redlands. I had some artwork left, and I took that to, I can't remember the name of the place, but down in Big Pine. It's not Big Pine though. It's Mako Street. You know, familiar with Mako Street?
Ramrod Key?
Ramrod. Yeah, I moved down to Ramrod, and I set up a shop there. And then I just made a bunch of stuff, and I left stuff with the owners there, and we left and traveled. Mm-hmm. So the storm hit. Of course, all that got destroyed.
Sure.
And when I came back here with just I left my fifth wheel in Vero. You know, after traveling, that's what we used for our shows. And I came down with my flatbed and my toolbox, and I found this location. There was a big pile of logs next door where they were doing hurricane stuff. And I talked to the owner here and made a deal with him that I would clean up the property with heavy equipment and start carving. And it's worked out, and we're still here 2 years later. It's a great location.
That's awesome. And I like the fact that it's so visible. Like, I think it's a great place, like your marketing and advertising, it's just happening for itself.
Well, it is. It's all visual. I mean, and there's good visibility here, and we do large pieces so that really turn heads.
Yep. Let's talk about what it's like to be an artist in the Keys. First of all, being an artist and making a living as one is difficult. So does doing it here in the Keys make it even harder or easier?
Well, it's all it's location, and who you're involved with. And the best thing to do to be, if you're an independent artist in the Keys, is not be involved with anybody and just
do your thing.
And do your thing and have your spot, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of opportunities here, and it can be tough. You know, and it's expensive to live here,
yeah.
And housing's always an issue. So I tell basically, if you're an artist moving to the Keys, prepare to be homeless, and you know, and good luck and go for it.
Yeah.
And you can make it. You just got to be willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to get there, unless you already have money.
What have been some key things that have helped you stay afloat through storms and other problems? Like, what has helped you stay at it and stay successful?
Just the fact that I'm really good at it, and I enjoy it most of the time, and I'm really good at it.
Sounds like confidence doesn't hurt.
No, confidence is full of confidence.
Yeah.
Everyone's a home run. Yeah.
How did you discover that it was your passion? Like, was it instant?
Pretty much. I mean, I saw the guy doing it. I was like, man, I can do that. And I went and I started doing it. I made one phone call to a tree company, and they brought me like a semi-load of wood and dumped it right in my front yard in my neighborhood, which my wife at the time wasn't very happy about that. And I carved it all right in the front yard. The neighborhood put up with me. Everybody got a piece, and that's where we began. I actually carved every day after work for 3 months, and I found a place. I was tying steel and building, doing concrete form work, and just horrible labor. I left like a week before Christmas. I had carved 3 months. It just happened to be 3 months before Christmas, so I carved, I don't know how many pieces. I can't remember exactly, but maybe close to 100 pieces. And they were all my first pieces. And I found a place called the Wildcat Bait Shop up on A1A in Melbourne. And I cut a deal with the owner. I said I'd give him 10% of what I sell for one parking space out front. And I went up there with like an old station wagon and everything sticking out of it, and put everything all over it, and I sold everything I had made, and I probably left with like $7,500, and I've been doing this full time ever since.
So Mike, did finding your passion for carving and for sculpture, did it save you and provide you with another path in life?
Absolutely. There's nothing. I mean, today it doesn't suck. It hasn't been easy. I'm over 20 years in this, but there's nothing else I'd rather be doing, and there's nothing else that I know that would can provide me with the ability to do what I want to do. you know.
Where were you in life at the moment that you realized, hey, this carving could be a thing for me?
Oh, big dark gray area. I mean, for me, it was kind of where I was.
And what did this do? Like, tell me about how it walked you out.
Well, you know, number one, it gave me I could go home and not spend any time inside my house because of the situation I was in. So
Sure.
I put lots of time out into that, and it was just something that I understood and believed in, and I started off kind of good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You put a lot of hours in.
Yeah, a lot of hours.
So
And I still do. I'm still daylight to dark.
is
It's
that
what it takes to run any business.
and is that what you would tell someone who wants to make a living out of art?
I would tell them, prepare to be homeless and work, you know, all day.
Yeah.
Live at your shop and build it if you have nothing, but you can do it.
What do you think differentiates your work from other carvers? How can I know an Ashcraft?
If you stick around for a minute, you'll know my artwork from my others' artwork. I'm self-taught. My style is my style.
Give me a few things that.
I don't even know. If you see something and the first words out of your mouth are "that's off the chain," well, it's probably one of my pieces.
Mike, I'm constantly thinking about artists that are starting out. How did you get the business part of your business under control, and what kind of advice would you give somebody who is starting out about how to protect and take care of the business side?
That is probably the most important thing that never gets really done until you're being successful.
Or maybe having been burned once.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes. My advice would be keep a journal and have contracts for everything. You know, as a commissioned artist or something like that. But the best way to do it is just make the stuff, finish it, and sell it instead of doing commissions.
How do you set prices?
I look at it and price it. Put a value on it. I mean, you could spend 4 hours on something, it could be worth $10,000. You can spend 30 hours on something, it could be worth $75. You know, it's
Each piece is unique.
yes.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. This has been totally interesting to me. I know so little about wood carving, and it's just been a pleasure to learn about it and to get to spend some time with you today. So thank you.
If you want to get your information about the Florida Keys straight from the locals who live here and the ones who love it here, we've got you covered. Visit 43keys.com as your source for everything Florida Keys. Sign up for our newsletter and you'll always be up to date on all the Keysy stuff that's going on down here. Go to 43keys.com. That's the number 4, the number 3, keys.com, and sign up today.